We're looking at the Mongols, and before we dig deep, the Mongols kind of get a bad rap in history. And the big reason why they get this kind of bad reputation in history is because most of what we know about the Mongols was written by outsiders. We really only have one early source written by Mongolians about their history. And so everything else we have about the Mongols is written by mostly peoples who were being conquered by the Mongols. And so the Mongols, for years and years, tended to get this bad reputation in world history as just brutal conquerors, and they could be that. But there's also some positives that the Mongols brought as well. And so we're going to kind of weigh both sides and look at the Mongols in a more kind of neutral light if we can. So first off, the Mongols are going to originate in these Central Asian steppe regions here. And we've looked at earlier peoples from these regions. We've talked about nomads going all the way back to the first civilizations. And so nomads have always played kind of a vital role in civilizations. And this region of Central Asia was not very well suited to agriculture. And so peoples adapted to the environment. And they mostly survived off herding and raising animals. And so when it comes to civilization, nomads have always played a vital role in civilizations, and at times they were disruptive. They could invade and raid civilizations, but they also played an important role in helping to diffuse technologies and also kind of facilitating trade across Asia. So we're going to look at the life of these nomadic peoples of Central Asia, and here's some images that kind of relate to their lifestyle. It revolved around animals, and horses were vital, as we'll see here in a little bit. In the lower image there, you can see those are examples of not just their animals, but also their housing, their yurts. And we'll look more at yurts here in a little bit, but yurts were their houses, and they were mobile, and they were made pretty much entirely of animal products. And so the bottom line here is that their world really revolved around these animals. And so let's look at that lifestyle. First off, they were nomadic. They relied on their animals, and so they had to move their animals often from pasture to pasture or find new grazing lands or water sources. And they were typically organized into clans. And these clans were usually kind of united by some commonalities when it came to their culture or their family groups or the languages that they spoke. And so Central Asia, as we talked about earlier, wasn't really well suited to agriculture. There aren't many large rivers that they can use for irrigation. And so instead, people survived as pastoralists and mostly survived on animal products. And pretty much everything they needed, they got from their animals. And so their housing, their clothing, their food all came from their animals. And really a big portion of their diet was actually dairy products. And then that was supplemented with meat from their animals as well. The role of nomads is what I talked about a moment ago. Again, at times they were disruptive, but they also helped protect trade routes and help facilitate trade across Central Asia. They also helped spread technologies across Central Asia as well. Socially, they were really only divided into two main social classes. You had your nobility and your commoners, and unlike what we see in many of our other civilizations, these social classes were more fluid, especially when it came to this kind of warrior aristocracy nobility. If you were a commoner and you proved yourself in battle, you could work your way up into that upper nobility class. When it came to religion, the kind of native religion was mostly shamanistic, kind of mystical. Later, we're going to see other religions spread, such as Buddhism, Nestorian Christianity, becomes popular in some groups of these Central Asian nomads. And then later, Islam is also going to become popular, especially amongst your Turkish population. And then, as far as their military organization goes, they were known for having an outstanding cavalry. That was the heart of their military forces, and it's what's going to make them such a formidable opponent and such great conquerors as well.